Watching the wheels. The one and only John Lennon would have been 70 years old today. And again, I think we always have time for a little bit of John Lennon. Unfortunately, some of that music, just by nature of when he was recording it, definitely has that late 70s, early 80s canned feel. But again, we'll never know what he would have been able to do. But of course, when voices become that strong and that powerful and that virulently anti-war, well, as Alex Constantine writes in The Covert War Against Rock, and as Christopher Knowles goes over in his new book, The Secret War Against Rock, I'm paraphrasing. Amazing new video, or rather interview with Christopher Knowles on redicecreations.com. But I digress, my friends. We're going through the media and memes while the world's still watching Lennon's wheels go round and round. Stephen J. Cannell, the creator of Rockford Files and the A-Team and a ton of other bad action shows that we all loved as we were growing up, he has passed away at the age of 69. The economiccollapseblog.com asking the question, who owns the media? The 6 monolithic corporations that control almost everything we watch, hear, and read. And yes, they're, of course, the 6 that you know. Roger Waters targeted by the ADL for criticizing the globalist military-industrial complex. He says he's not against Israel, he's against occupation, and that's what it is. Well, Roger Waters becoming closer and closer to the growing, exploding freedom movement worldwide. And we're all connected through this amazing interwebs while we have it. So I would imagine we're going to see Roger Waters showing up more and more on some alternative media outlets. I know my man Jeff on tragedyandhope.com was talking months ago about trying to get an interview, and damn, he was right. We should have been trying already. Our last media meme note is how we began the show with the brand new single European Superstate from the new album from Killing Joke. Their new album's called Absolute Descent, and they will be in Portland in December, and maybe we'll have to talk to them about their new record that also has songs called In Game and more. Couple quick notes on murder and mayhem. Interestingly enough, traffic deaths hit 60-year low. Now, that could be for any number of reasons, but I'm sure it has an economic point that basically people aren't driving as much. The other murder and mayhem note ties in with the recent moral panic surrounding internet bullying and the suicides, which is how this report from CBS Local out of New York gets into New York City landmarks becoming suicide havens.
New Jersey prosecutors say no decision has been made on whether to add additional charges in the Rutgers suicide tragedy. Students Dalrun Ravi and Molly Way are charged with invasion of privacy. The Middlesex County prosecutor might add bias charges. Ravi and Way are accused of streaming online video of classmate Tyler Clementi during a sexual encounter with another man. And as we know, he later committed suicide by jumping off the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah, and Clementi's death was the most recent example of landmarks becoming the site for tragedy, an unfortunate growing trend. CBS 2's Mark Morgan explores whether new preventative safety measures would make a difference.
When 18-year-old Tyler Clementi leapt to his death from the George Washington Bridge, the Rutgers student's suicide drew national attention.
This is the way you're guaranteed some sort of notoriety. You know that if you jump from that landmark, whether the George Washington Bridge or the Empire State Building, that people will know about it and you are making a statement.
Kevin Hines jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco in 2000 and survived. There are now plans for a net that will jut out from the bridge to hopefully help save lives.
If it was there when I was attempting to jump, I would not have jumped.
Barriers have been constructed on the bridges spanning gorges in Ithaca, New York, where 6 Cornell University students committed suicide last year.
Anything that can obstruct a clean jump, because people don't want to deal with the pain of falling into something like that.
As of August 31st, the NYPD had responded to over 600 reports of people either jumping or threatening to jump off of buildings or bridges. That number, a 27% increase over that same period a year ago. A Port Authority spokesperson told CBS 2, "We are continuing to partner with mental health experts to further strengthen prevention efforts." Gardier says many suicides, like Clementi's, are the result of a person who feels they don't have any other alternative, and that landmarks become magnets for those contemplating ending their life. From the Manhattan side of the George Washington Bridge, Mark Morgan, CBS 2 News.
According to a recent Centers for Disease Control study, jumping off buildings or bridges was the 4th leading cause of suicide among young people ages 10 to 24.
Now, that report brings up a lot of other points that we don't have time to get into, such as just the growing wave of suicides, whether it's happening in the military or whether it's happening with white middle-class people who are losing their ass because of the controlled demolition of our fake economy. The suicides off the Golden Gate Bridge reminds me of an amazing documentary called The Bridge about suicides on the Golden Gate Bridge. And it also reminds me that there have been a slowly growing amount of suicides on the New River Gorge Bridge, the bridge from my hometown in Fayetteville, West Virginia. It's what's on the back of the West Virginia quarter. You know, all the state quarters. That's my hometown and the biggest landmarker there on the West Virginia quarter. People have jumped off that bridge because it's an assured death. No two ways about it. It used to be the world's longest single-arch steel bridge. You can fit a Statue of Liberty underneath it. And coming up next Saturday will be Bridge Day. It's the only day of the year legally where they let people parachute off the bridge, and it's the only day of the year that I can be assured that there may be some kind of positive news about West Virginia in the news. But I digress a lot, my friends. The last few updates on this 10/7 news purge, people asking questions, lost in confusion, which of course does come from the lyrics of John Lennon's Watching the Wheels. We get our few Obama-Saya updates, where even out of Australia, theage.com.au, new face, same imperialism, Obama no better than Bush. We, of course, have a new intelligence authorization, and, of course, that would come with a signing statement from Obama. Remember, campaign Obama said he wouldn't, have lobbyists, wouldn't do the signing statements. He's doing all those things. Some folks would call that a lie. More on the latest Obama-Saya signing statement from Empty Wheel. Breitbart, Big Hollywood, getting into MTV, stacking the deck for a pre-election Obama town hall. They're going to run an Obama town hall, but they're already running a casting call so they can put the right amount of people together who will ask the right amount of airhead, ridiculous questions. Remember, the MTV Bill Clinton was the place that gave us the boxers or briefs meme. Our last note connected to Obama-Saya, of course, we referenced earlier the knife-wielding son of an Israeli terrorist. Rahm Emanuel has now stepped down as chief of staff, and as we've seen Jim Jones stepping down as national security director, as we see Larry Summers stepping down as economic advisor, we see all the rats jumping ship, at least this cycle of the fake left-right paradigm. You know what I'm saying. It's a charade. Experts say Rahm Emanuel not a legal resident of city. That is from suntimes.com. That would be the Chicago Sun-Times, the city that son of an Israeli terrorist is going to muscle his way in to become the next corrupt mayor of Chicagoland. The place where they do gangsters quite right, my friends. That's the massive news purge, and again, so much is there. And again, we heard the reference in Watching the Wheels. Looking at shadows on the wall. He's talking about the allegory of the cave. Talking about thinking those shadows on the wall are real. We're all learning and we're all growing, and we all have to share this information and tell each other about those certain shadows that each of us, in our own way, are still watching on the wall.